Welcome to this episode of Shonen Flop, where we talk about manga and Shonen Jump that didn't make it big. I'm David.
I'm Jordan.
This week, we're talking about U19, and we are joined by our guest today, Slowbeef.
Hey, how are you? I'm glad to be here.
I'm excited. We talked about in the warm-up audio, but you are now the third certified something awful Let's Play legend.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know what that website is or you're talking about. Or
Sounds awful.
He's like, you're confusing me for sloth poultry.
What?
I got it.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right, yeah.
Literally made that joke and explained it to you last night at movie night.
You did?
I'm really concerned. Yes.
You did.
What
yes,
movie were you
yes.
watching where I came up?
The Thing.
Oh, there you go. That's appropriate then, yeah.
Yeah, right?
So we do a monthly movie night, which you're, of course, welcome to join. So my goal, though, is right now is we do a poll, and I'm trying to make the hardest to decide poll. And I got really close this time where it was actually a 1-vote difference. It was 9 votes for one and 8 for the other. Clue versus Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
I'm excited for that one. I'm down to watch either movie, but damn. But Slowbeef, all we need now is diabetes. We will have completed the...
Good luck getting that guy.
The quadernity, yeah.
I hear he hates manga. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, we do too, actually. It's perfect.
Yeah, he's too big for us now. He went all Hollywood, I heard.
There's something like that.
By the way, Slowbeef, I've heard mixed things. So do you directly consider yourself the creator of Let's Plays? Or...
Yeah.
Okay, so you just straight up do? Because I thought someone was like, oh, he doesn't like it when people mention that, which is why I mention it, because I'm an idiot.
No. It's not that. It is complicated, like, if you get into the real deal answer of it. Because
Yeah.
I didn't invent, like, what Let's Plays are, etc. It gets annoying then, because then people are like, no, it was really something. And I was like, no, it happened on the Something Awful forums or whatever. And there's, for video Let's Play and the things we're calling Let's Play generally with YouTube, yeah, you can do a direct line, you know. But if you want to get into the nitty gritty, we could talk about it. You know, it's like one of those things, like, I don't want to be like this arrogant guy where it's like, hell yeah, I did, and you need to get to my Patreon or whatever. It's just more like, the modesty is kind of confused things sometimes. So it's just like, yeah, fine, I am. Forget it. You know, enough's enough.
I will say your name actually literally appears on the Wikipedia page for Let's Play.
So a friend of mine was telling a story. He was out bowling, you know, like a real life friend of mine. And he was telling his like friend, like, you know, oh yeah, my friend Mike like invented Let's Plays or whatever. He goes by Slowbeef. And the friend's like, yeah, right, he didn't invent them or whatever. Apparently later he called him and goes, holy shit, I went home, I Googled who invented Let's Play, and in big letters, Google said Michael Slowbeef.
Oh, man.
Used to do that Google Instant thing where it would, like, read the Kotaku article that Patrick Klepek interviewed me about and stuff, so, you know. Just one of those things, too, like, I don't want to be like, yeah, it's me, because it sounds, like, really shitty, because there's a lot of people who, like, contributed to it, like Proton John, Kepka Floyd, you know, Freelance Astronauts, all those people.
I was actually thinking about like my favorite Let's Players, and I was thinking of the Freelance Astronauts, so I'm glad you mentioned them.
Yeah, no, they were great and all that.
Yeah.
But they're all dead now. No, I'm joking. I'm totally kidding. It's just sort of like one of those things where I'm like, no, not really. And then people are like, nah, it was Chris Chan. I'm like, absolutely not. No,
yeah, I saw that. What?
I'm not even investigating that. That is not true. It was me. Get out of here. You know what I mean? Like, that's like where it's like, all right, enough.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Going back to those old Something Awful Let's Plays, it's funny. Like, I was watching one of Weinberger's old Let's Plays, and she keeps talking about the thread, and, there's a dual commentary track available here. That is just something that I just feel has no place in our modern world.
That's the tricky thing, right? Because there's that whole, like, life of it that, like, went away in a way, like, with screenshot Let's... Not that they're away, but, like, nobody reads screenshot Let's Plays or anything, you know?
No.
I remember reading some really good ones back in the day.
I genuinely would love to sit here and talk about Let's Plays. But
I'd be okay with it. Maybe
there is a point of this episode.
People might not read Let's Plays anymore, but people still read manga.
That's
and
true.
We read one hell of a manga, so let's get into talking about U19.
Oh boy.
This manga was created by Yuuj Kimura, and this is actually the only thing they've done, and it ran from February 13th, 2017 to January 12th, 2017. Coincidentally, that is neither of our birthdays.
No.
So, a little bit of a shame.
Close, but no.
One series did start on my birthday last episode, so that's what I'm referencing.
I see.
His birthday is December 31st, so it's like...
That wasn't in the show notes, so it didn't happen. December 31st? That sucks.
Right?
So sorry.
I feel like it's a disbalance because like everyone I know remembers my birthday and then I don't really remember theirs, but it's like I feel like it's not fair because my birthday's a lot easier to remember than the average person's.
Well, somebody in my family, their birthday is Christmas, which I'm like, and not like close families, just like, but you know what I mean, where I'm like, wow, that's awful, and they're like, yeah, it is. Screw it on presents and everything,
Yeah, the double presents, and then my mom actually was supposed to have me on Christmas, and she was like, as a Jew, I'm not letting this happen. So she just willed it into existence. I wasn't born.
That's really good kegels when you can like hold the baby. Like,
exactly.
I don't even know if that's how you pronounce it. That's how little I know about that whole thing.
That whole thing they got down there. Whatever.
Oh, God. I don't know how to deal with this. Oh, but anyway, so this ran for 3 volumes and 17 chapters. This is the only thing the author has done, so I feel like he is rearing up to make something new if he hasn't just completely quit the industry and made pornography. Like some of the, if I had a nickel for every...
That's a common career shift.
That is a good career change, now I'm thinking about it, but yeah.
It is.
Yeah, so he's like,
Yeah, I didn't know you could make that transition, but yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh, and speaking of transition, let's transition into About the Manga, where Jordan had one hell of a time figuring out how to write up a plot summary for this manga. The adults have taken over. Society is focused on beating children into becoming respectable adults, imposing a caste system from S to E. But thankfully, they're the Garage Kids, a secret force of teenagers fighting for the rights of kids. They use their power, which actually is called libido. Yes.
Literally called libido.
Yes.
I really just pulled my collar right now in real life.
Yeah. If Austin Powers was a manga.
That's just what they call stands in this universe. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Slowbeef, you can use that as your 6 words something. There's this kid named Eiji who really likes sewing and is in love with his childhood friend Tsukino, but is constantly beaten up and criticized for being too feminine by his abusive teacher, Tan. When a blood test shows that Tsukino has SSS ranked blood, she is forcibly taken to a school for high caste people, and she flips out and awakens his libido powers, a sewing needle named Red Thread. Eiji is kidnapped by the leader of the Gareki, who was his classmate Nanami the whole time. Popcorn Jordan.
Together, Eiji, Nanami, and Eiji's friends Suzuki get Tan arrested for being a pedophile, which he wasn't, but also, he kind of was, honestly. We discover that the adult party is run by Shiki Yamato, who is adult Hitler. Yamato reveals that the purpose of the caste system was literally eugenics, actually eugenics. Like bloodline purification by setting up a breeding program and culminating in explicitly genocide. Damn.
Yeah.
Holy shit. As revenge for World War II.
They really said it.
They basically stopped a step short of saying the word Holocaust, but they basically got there. Meanwhile, Tsukino is assigned a soulmate named Subaru, a guy who she does not like. Eiji rushes to the school to save her and fights the bioengineered perfect boy, created by adult Hitler with the help of a Bansho Gareki and an alt girl Gareki, but Hitler blows him up because he melted. And there are more perfect melting teens with bombs, but a hacker Gareki hacks into their bombs and turns them off. Popcorn Slowbeef.
The Gareki's leader is like Professor X, and he can transform into the ultimate warrior at the cost of his life force, and he stops them from melting using his vague powers. They were pretty vague, I gotta be honest.
Yeah.
Adult Hitler shows up in a UFO, and they blow it up, and the sleepy Gareki summons a blue whale. These are all cool things that happened in this manga. I'm going to say this, and I'm not passively aggressively correcting anything, but I could swear it's Eiji fights Subaru. Did I get that right? I'm not so big into manga. I could swear it's Eiji.
I think it's Eiji or Eiji.
It's like Eiji, but that's how, whatever. I don't know. Eiji fights Subaru, who gets scissor powers, and is mad that Tsukino won't be with him. Eiji refuses to hurt a teenager, but then they connect with each other as humans. They both drop their weapons, and Eiji beats the shit out of him. They then go to the island from Jujutsu Kaisen with their parents and talk about how they're going to win in the next election.
And I just want to point out, Jordan said he didn't make any pop culture references, and then he just really upped it in the last paragraph, which I guess he was assuming I was going to read.
Yeah, I forgot about that one because it was just It looks like the island from Jujutsu Kaisen, right?
Do you mind describing what it looks like? Because not everyone knows what you're talking about.
Imagine an island paradise. You did it.
Lost in paradise.
Hey.
Oh, no, that is not true. There's one more thing, which is that it is shaped like a dolphin.
Is that a Hunter x Hunter reference?
I feel like there was a lot of Hunter x Hunter in this.
Oh, there was just a straight up, they stole a scene from the Chimera Ant arc, which I'll get into in Miscellaneous Thoughts.
They have like a Phantom Troop at one point.
Yeah. But speaking of troop, why don't we get into the characters? So Jordan, why don't you take us away with Mr. Harry Potter Scar?
All right, so we got Kudou Eiji. Now, this guy, he's got a Harry Potter style scar on his forehead, except it is shaped like basically he had somebody stitched him up and then just poorly removed the stitches.
Yeah.
It looks like when you take your shoelaces out of your shoe.
It's like the kind of scar if you lost a limb in the Civil War, you know? Like the Harry Potter scar is a cute little, like, thunderbolt thing. This is a scar. This is a disfiguring lightning thing going through his head.
Yeah, fucked up.
He got the scar when he just annoyed an adult as a kid or something.
And the adult like took like a sharp carpenter square looking thing, or like or one of those triangles, I guess, right, that you do to calculate angles, like back in the day. I can't think of the name of it.
Yeah.
Just like, all right then, whoosh, and like, holy God, that's awful.
And of course, in this universe, it's his fault.
Well, it's his fault he wasn't born as an adult.
Yeah.
Like Gary Oldman.
There was this weird belief in like a lot of Renaissance artists in like pre-Renaissance times that Jesus could not have been a child. So as a result, they determined, well, he must have been born fully formed, but a fully grown man cannot fit inside of a woman. So their solution was Jesus was just a very small 40-year-old man.
The Adventures of 2-Foot Jesus.
Y'all are like on another level, and then in manga, like, deep diving, because I'm still like on the Gary Oldman thing. Like, what movie were they talking about? Was it Dracula? Was Dracula not a kid? Is that a thing? You know, but
literally his last name.
Oh, gotcha. Wow.
No, you're overthinking it.
Your expectations of my jokes are way too high, but let's set it down.
Yeah.
This isn't Something Awful circa 2008.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, thank goodness is right. Yeah. But anyway, Eiji's like an activist type, you know. He doesn't stand for the shit that the adults are doing, you know. When their abusive teacher like forces this girl to take off her cardigan, he decides to wear cardigans himself for the whole school year.
Yeah, he's very anti-toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
He's very proud of his sewing hobby.
He's punk.
Very anti-authority in general, too. The scar really, like, kind of renewed his, like, you know, sense of, like, not all that, and I'm learning to sew, so eat shit, adults, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
He's an herbivore boy. As we discussed on the Chibi, they're calling him a soy boy.
And then his powers are pretty much Stone Oceans, or Stone Freeze power from Part 6.
I kept getting flashbacks to, like, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Really?
With that one dude with the arrow who he can control, like, with his mind.
Oh, the whistle arrow? That's a cool point.
So basically what it is he's got this needle that is like really cool and looks like an anime sword, and it's floating and you know, connected with a thread and stuff, and then he can basically just control it more or less telepathically. And then his needle gets bigger when his libido...
As it would.
Oh god, no, let's not finish that sentence.
So we did not read the optimal translation, I will say.
No. The guy really tried, though.
He tried. It was translated by this guy. He had like this big translation note where he said, I'm from Indonesia. I didn't notice there was any English translations for it. He straight up said people are refusing to translate it based on ideological grounds, which is kind of funny. And yeah, he did his best, you know?
It's not awful. There's certain parts that are awful, and like if you took those individual parts, you'd say like, how do you even read this? But like, those things are actually fewer and farther between than you'd think.
Yeah. You can work it out. No, so we did another series before this called...
Philosophy School and Bokusan both had some very bad translations.
So the thing about Philosophy School, the reason why I wanted to point that out is because this is a worse translation than that. But
yeah,
Philosophy School is inherently far more confusing.
To be fair, the subject matter sounds a lot lighter than Philosophy School, so maybe there's more room for...
Was it lighter, though? There was genocide in this.
Well, it's a less complicated idea.
I get what you mean, yeah.
rather than someone trying to make complex mind game narratives while trying to read a poorly translated series.
Yeah, oh my god. Anyway, Tsukino Akari, his crush / straight up probably girlfriend, yeah.
So he's really in love with her. She wants to do good. She's not very smart, but she has good genes. So I guess that counts for everything. She doesn't really have much agency, despite, I guess the main thing is she turns down this guy who like really simps for her. Mm-hmm. That dude is definitely a tier 3 sub for Pokemon. But yeah, so there's not much to say. She doesn't get any powers, which is disappointing because I really thought she was going to.
Mm-hmm.
I will say about Tsukino, I thought that her romance with Eiji was like, it was cute.
Yeah.
You don't see that kind of thing in shonen manga.
So I don't have like a ton of exposure to anime and manga that like I'm sure y'all do, or as much I should say. So for me, I feel like I've always seen the stereotype where it's like boy likes girl, they never quite admit their feelings for each other until the very end. You know what I mean? But then this one, it actually happens early on and that tension's not really there, you know?
Yeah, you don't got the girl who's like, it's not like I like you or anything. Mm-hmm. It's just so strange to see like a straight up romance plot in a shonen manga.
Yeah, and it's resolved in the first chapter.
I mean, no, because the romance is that they have to find a way to come back together because society is keeping them apart, David. Society is saying that they can't be together.
We do live in a society, Jordan.
We do!
Fair.
Anyway, though, I'll get into the next character. Nanami Yuya, who is the class president. He is a solid dude, has the main character's back, and he turns out that he is actually the head of a division that goes against the adults, which is a cool twist.
He is ripped, by the way. Just
he is just
totally
so sexy.
Fucking yoked. Oh my god.
Yeah. He's got those cum gutters, as they say in Rick and Morty.
Shut the fuck up, David. What the fuck?
His ability is he can make super duper sharp blades. He uses like a pen, which he uses like a sword.
The pen is mightier than the yeah, you get it.
But slowbeef, do you mind telling us a little bit about the first antagonist, the teacher?
So Tani, right? According to the show notes, he's an asshole teacher, and I agree with whoever wrote that.
Thank you.
I agree too.
Yeah, isn't he wearing that like kind of typical sort of like not sweatsuit? I don't know what you call that, like jumpsuit.
The tracksuit, I guess.
Yeah, tracksuit. Thank you. That's the word. Right. Yeah, no, he's totally a jerk. And he is taken out midway through. I don't know if we want to get into how and that whole thing.
That was just not expected. I feel Jordan really wants to say what happened to that teacher.
I can save it for you there, because he's a typical sort of like bully teacher that's I feel like I've seen in like 80s movies before where he's not quite by the rules. Because at one point when Tsukino's like taken away, Kudou's like all depressed and stuff, like I'm gonna screw with him now, you know what I mean, to kind of like get back at him, I guess, for like being a jerk in his class and everything like that. So he like does things to
he's like a cartoon bully.
Yes, exactly. And he's not the big bad, as we mentioned.
Every single antagonist in the series is cartoonishly evil, which we will get into.
They really are.
Mm-hmm.
There is no subtlety in this series.
Absolutely not.
But yeah, and then I'll just do the next guy, Hanada. He founded the Garage Kids. He has low vitality, and Jordan, man, this is like, what, the 7th or 8th time where the superpower trades your life force.
I will say I liked it a little bit more than in Build King, although I like pretty much everything a little bit more than in Build King, so I guess that's a low bar.
Slowbeef, for reference, Build King was probably the worst thing we've ever read.
Well, now I want to read it, but yeah.
It's actually the episode we send to people that want to check out our podcast.
Yeah.
By the way, essentially his libido makes him strong. He essentially wields the fierce deity mask from Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Professor X Gareki who shows up. He's got like a dot on his forehead, which I think is culturally significant.
Mm-hmm.
And his whole thing is that he's extremely weak, but he does the Dragon Ball Z thing when the Saiyans look at the moon, where he turns into a giant dude.
Mm-hmm.
And he can undo melting.
That he can do.
And he can also give people his life force, even though he's got like 7 years left.
To undo melting.
Yes, that's how he undoes melting. It's not like there's like a glass of water and he touches it and ice cubes come back.
No. Or he prevents further melting is how it works,
Yes, he has the power over a refrigerator.
He does, though.
Anyway, I forget whose turn it is. Slowbeef, can you tell us about the big bad who is the prime minister of Japan?
Shiki Yamato? Oh, yeah. He is an old badass looking guy like Bang from One Punch Man. He's very evil. And like, I think like you mentioned earlier, he is like kind of actually doing, like, you think this is a cute thing, like kids versus adults, etc. And he's like, we're doing this to make sure we have a genetically pure Japan. And it's like, whoa, okay.
Yeah. Like directly as revenge for World War II.
Yeah.
There's one panel that like blew my mind where it just shows him from a slightly lower angle and you see the shadow on his nose, which simultaneously looked like a skull and a Hitler mustache. That's awesome. Hell yeah. My favorite thing with him is that we see him like filing his nails. And then the next moment you see him filed his nails into like claws.
You know, I didn't even notice that detail. That's really, wow, yeah.
What you actually notice first in that moment is the claws, and then you go back a couple panels and it's like, oh my god, he was literally filing that in the panel. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a good detail.
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then why don't you tell us about the last character in the series, the final boss?
Oh, Sagawa Subaru. So he is in love with Akari. He was assigned to her as her soulmate. He is crazy, kind of a sex pest. Mm-hmm. And his libido turns into scissor powers because he is jealous.
I think he's like kind of late here too to be like a rival, you know, like he's sort of kind of toward the end and it's like, let's set this up. And I'm like, nah, well, you know, you don't have that long left. I can see how long this is.
It's a common thing in Shonen where they don't really have a final boss and they literally introduce the final boss in the final chapter. Like we read Tokyo Shinobi Squad, which is an alt-right manga that ran in Shonen Jump. And they literally introduced this guy who's like his long lost master. So the main character can have his ass beaten by someone in the last chapter.
Yeah, like he shows up, he's like, hey, what's up? I'm your long lost master. Let's fight now. And that's how it ends.
And then he just whoops his ass.
I always like to point out the moment in which you can tell that the manga author knew that it was canceled.
Yeah.
I think here that was probably the moment in which Eiji just decided, yeah, I'm just going to go to the school now.
But speaking of cancellation, why don't we go into why it failed?
Yes.
Slowbeef, though, what's really kind of something that stood out to you is something that the series just did not do very well.
None of the fights are interesting. Before, like, all the eugenic stuff, I was expecting kind of a light read. And
yeah,
there are fights, and there's one huge action section, which is kind of interminable, and they keep introducing new elements, and I just don't care. It's like there's new characters, like there's new enemies, there's new opponents. Nobody really does anything particularly. Like, they keep trying really hard and it doesn't seem to work because, like, I don't know, like there's just one point to where it's like, screw it, here's a giant bomb that maybe is a nuke. And then that's when the other guy goes Saiyan and he's like, no, I'm huge. I'm just going to eat it. At that point, I'm like, I feel like I've been reading the same fight for 30 minutes. I'm like, yeah, whatever. You know, it doesn't really work for me.
That fight is like the reason why this was so difficult to summarize, because it takes up a significant portion of the back part of this manga.
Oh yeah.
And I was just like, wait, what happened then? What happened in that fight? It's hard to remember. Like, I think it's supposed to matter more that the Prime Minister of Japan drops an atom bomb after referencing World War II specifically.
Well, it wasn't an atom bomb.
It was a nuke.
It only had a 1 kilometer radius, which you definitely can achieve with conventional explosives.
Unlike David, I'm not a nuke expert, so.
You're right.
I mean, it is a big bomb. And I mean, even before that, too, in the big fight, like, there's a part where it's like, hey, here's a kid we've been genetically engineering, and he's completely perfect. He only can go for 10 minutes. Oh, he's out of time. Okay, well.
And he just dies.
Yeah.
Like, this cost $600 million to make him.
They didn't know that.
Like,
No, I thought the scientist knew that. She just didn't mention it.
It's not even like a challenging thing. Like, I got to survive for 10 minutes or else. It's just sort of like, I kind of wrote myself into a corner on this one. Whoa, yeah, you know.
It's literally that scene from Hercules, the animated series, where Zeus has to be a human for like a day. And he's like in this shitty situation. And like, I think Hades is like trying to abuse it. And then he gets his power back. And like the fates where he found out he was going to be a human for a day were like, oh, we forgot to mention to the time limit.
That was a deep cut.
It's just a deep-rooted 20-year-old memory.
You're never allowed to give me shit for vampires ever again.
Hercules animated series is a bit more mainstream. Speaking of things that don't matter, this series had so many characters that were introduced and were completely pointless. I, in real time, was cutting out characters from the section because I realized we don't care about the basketball kid or the lady who gets her hair shaved off or the lady who made rumors or the lady who wanted to be an idol, which is probably one of those other characters, or the fact that they introduced this squad of garage kids and then he goes on a mission with two completely different people. And Jordan, it's like Monster Chamber Girls where they kept replacing the main characters with other main characters that serve the exact same purpose.
I think that this author just should not have included the garage kids because you really don't need them. Like he sets up a supporting cast in like the first chapter, and IG develops his libido power, and you could just kind of have the series be about IG interacting with like this supporting cast, but because the author was like, no, this has to be Shonen Kids Next Door, he decided instead that he has to like force this league in there.
Yeah,
I don't think this author could handle that.
I'm with you. Definitely something to talk about and where it could have gone. But Slowbeef, is there anything else that really stood out to you, like things you didn't like about it?
This was just totally all over the place.
Yeah.
This is something light and airy, and then like, oh, here's the origin of his scar, and that's like direct ass abuse, and you're like, okay, that's messed up. Then we go light again, and there's the love story, and then like, hey, let's frame our, kind of perverted teacher into like full on like, pedophilia, which he kind of was, and it was so why are we going here?
That whole thing was with the teacher was very strange. Like, it was one of those things where, like, he wasn't a pedophile, but it really seemed like he was getting sexual gratification out of how he was beating the kids.
He was going to go punish Eiji's friend, and he's like kind of licks his lip. He's like, I'm going to punish you or whatever. When we actually see the room, he's gotten tied to a chair and he's hitting him. Like, he's not like doing anything sexual. But then Kudou uses his like thread powers to like tie his friend up in, I can't think of the name of it, but that like Japanese kind of bondage,
Yeah.
That like truss up kind of thing.
Yeah.
And all the adult teachers rush in, they're like, oh, Tani, like, you're one of those like jerks. He's like, no, what the heck? And the whole time I'm like, ugh, this is really, I don't know.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Might be a good transition into talking about what it did well.
Sure.
Oh, I had more to shit on, but...
Okay, well, I do want to say before we do that then, I think the author was weirdly kind of trying to say something where it's like, oh, they don't care when it's violent, as long as it isn't sexual. And then when it's sexual, it isn't that they care about the kid, it's that they care about, like, peering a certain way.
Right.
Yeah, which is, a comment on society.
This series it feels like it's trying to be just a straight up satire in a way that I don't think I've ever seen like a shonen manga just straight up try and be like a political satire like this. The thing about the characters is that they're so flat because I think they're all supposed to be stand-ins for groups and for people and stuff like that. And that can work, but the problem is you wind up with a situation where you have flat characters.
Yeah, like everyone is so cartoonishly evil, but it's not like in a fun way. Like it reminds me of Dragon Ball Z, where all the villains just kind of sit around waiting until they need to be assholes to the main characters.
Now hold on, because the mad scientist lady is cartoonishly evil in a fun way.
Fine. All right. But still, they don't do anything. They deactivate until the plot needs them to do something. They're like a Power Rangers villain.
They absolutely are.
Two things. This is also probably one of the most blatant shotgun endings. I feel like it's been a while since we've seen one of those, Jordan, because I think the last few series just literally like didn't even have any framework to end the series in 3 chapters. And the last thing I want to point is their ultimate goal to take back Japan was to win via elections.
Right?
So they are saying, we're going to overtake this dictatorship with elections, because it's not like they're going to rig those elections.
Exactly. No, oh my god, it's so funny. Like you're reading this and you're like, wow, this is a manga that's like read a lot of like social philosophy and political like there's a weird undercurrent where it seems like the guy has gotten into like leftism and anarchism and stuff like that. And then it's just like, oh, we'll win the election.
We just need to convince 56% of the population or something.
Dude, yeah, they can like rig elections pretty easily. I don't think that you should think that like this adult government is going to allow you to have a free election.
Yeah, and it's just, I'm still imagining the fact that what if adults were in charge is the theme of this series. What if politicians were bad? All right. But anyway, all right. Jordan still really wants to talk about positives because I guess he liked this series. So let's move into what it did well. Jordan, what made you so excited to want to talk about positives about the series?
I like how this author is trying to like say something. There's a lot of manga that just really don't try and say, that really just doesn't try and say shit, you know? At least this guy, he's trying to make a point, and I respect it. And I think that he does it in like some pretty interesting ways. Like the general idea behind his approach is to say that like the way that we raise children is focused on making them feel like they must be respectable. And if you do not match this criteria, then you are useless and you are dragging all of society down. And we judge your usefulness based on your scores in high school when you're literally under 19 years old. And then he ropes in the fact that like a lot of adults, a lot of older people, you talk to them and they're like, oh, they treat kids too nice these days. When I was a kid, we got beaten and we liked it and we turned out all right. And what he's saying is that, like, you know, if you extrapolate those ideas and that logic, it's like, so your idea is that if you are deemed as not useful to society, then what? You know, and of course he takes it in a completely a very cartoonish way to illustrate his point. I found that really fascinating to see in a shonen manga. Like, he put a lot of thought into this. And, you know, the series falls apart in a ton of other ways. But
oh yeah, it just did not know how to write this topic in an interesting way.
I think it did for a little bit, but it fell apart. Also, the art's really good.
Oh yeah, we talked about in the chibi. It's got a really fun art style that looks very shonen, but it doesn't look like every single other thing that ran in Shonen Jump.
Yeah, there was a giant blue whale.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that was fun.
Oh, they had the Gareki who summons the blue whale is like this girl who's always sleeping. And I liked her a lot because usually when you see characters, especially girls sleeping in manga and anime and honestly cartoons and movies and shit like that, they're sleeping in a very attractive way, you know? But not her. She is drooling. She's making weird faces. She's just like not photogenic at this moment. And I loved that.
It's great. I also do still like how series, for some reason, took on toxic masculinity as a theme, and that was really cool.
Yeah.
And then how about you, Slowbeef? What did you enjoy about the series?
I enjoyed the whole time it kept me guessing why it was called U19.
Yeah.
No, but actually, it's funny because like when you were mentioning like some of the deeper themes it went into, I wasn't sure where it was going in a lot of places. So it kind of kept me guessing in like a good way.
Yeah.
It goes light on stuff. When they went into the libido thing and you realize like, okay, this isn't going as creepy as I was a little worried about, you know, like,
yeah,
it seems like it's going to be like cute and funny. And then, yeah, they get into these themes. And so it's like not by the numbers. I do like how it played with convention. I mentioned earlier, the whole like normal love story is subverted, you know?
Yeah.
I was really happy with that. I found it was really unpredictable and interesting in that way.
Absolutely. I feel like a lot of people have this idea that like there's a correct way to write manga and make manga and there is an incorrect way. And I appreciated that this series, I mean, I guess you could say it's because they did the incorrect way, but I appreciated that it was going in a different direction and it was doing so with high quality art. Like it didn't seem like this guy was just doing it because he was like completely incapable or anything like that. And it was cool to see. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the ending. It was just kind of cool. He got his girl, very John Hughes inspired, obviously. I mean, that's how John Hughes would have made an anime or a manga.
The John Hughes manga.
But speaking of where things could have gone and be better, are you guys cool if we transition into that topic?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Slowbeef, beyond, you know, having John Hughes be in charge of this manga, what would you have really said they could have done to have made this a better series?
I feel like the pacing and the structure could maybe have been a little tightened up. I think like if you restructured it, it could work. Again, I'm not super familiar with Shonen Jump and the manga in there, so I don't know if that's like a function of that part of it, you know, and of like an early cancellation, things like that. But I felt like there's a big fight sequence that kind of comes in the middle and is super loaded where it's like, was this meant to be broken up into multiple action sequences. And like we mentioned before, like characters are introduced and not a lot's done with them, and then new characters are thrown in. So it's like, was this like the framing of a much bigger thing, and would it have worked out better if like the author had kind of taken a step back, or maybe was given the opportunity to say like, okay, I know how long this is meant to be. I'm going to put this part here, this part here, this part here. Like there's like some untapped potential, I think, there, you know?
Yeah, they get kind of a 3-chapter notice, like, hey, we're canceling you in 3 chapters. You got to end it pretty soon. And yeah, I knew when it was like, okay, the big bad guy, the Hitler analog is showing up here. This is now the final battle.
Right.
We would have absolutely gotten to know who these Gareki are. We didn't even learn anything about the Gareki. Like, what the fuck are they? How does their leadership work? Is there a Gareki bureaucracy? I don't know. I would have liked to have learned more of that.
I completely agree.
Tell me more about the gamer guy who's upset that the boss is like destroying his PS4.
Yeah. His libido power, he could plug in a controller to anything and control it. I was like, that's very cute and funny.
Yeah, why didn't you show that sooner? I mean, that was the whole thing, is that this guy, for some reason, kept rotating the cast for no reason. Like, okay, so this is a weird idea, but I feel like it would have been cool if, like, everyone in his class, including the teacher, was actually a member of it, and, like, not everyone knew that. And they just would keep, like, randomly running into students, and, like, they would have to, like, pretend that they weren't on missions. So it was, like, just pretty much, like, dramatic irony of the series, and, like, even the teacher was, like, the head of the organization and stuff, like, this random-ass kid.
I like that because it also, like, it would give the impression that there's, like, kind of an underground resistance of kids.
Yeah.
That would have made the whole thing feel a little bit bigger. It would have made it feel a little bit more, like, integrated into the world.
Yeah.
I guess we just needed, like, 10 more characters.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just imagining, based on conversation, the best would have been if someone's libido was they had the Benjamin button, so they were actually like 14 years old, but they look like they were 80 years old or something. That was like their mole in the Japanese government.
I thought that's what they were gonna do, actually.
Seems in hindsight, that seems so obvious to have a character like that.
Well, because they had this one moment where there was like this really elderly dude in there who was voicing a concern at to like the adult Hitler guy, and then like immediately, oh, by the way, every time that the bad guys are having a meeting, Eiji and the Garage Kids are watching the meeting on like a TV screen because they apparently have a mole in there filming it. So I thought they were gonna be like, oh, that elderly dude, because there's an elderly dude who gets completely blown off by the big bad guy, and I thought that was going to be their mole, and it was just going to be like a kid dressed up like a really old person.
No. Oh my god. All right. You guys ready to go to Miscellaneous Thoughts?
Yes.
Sure.
So, Jordan, what was your first Miscellaneous Thought?
Libido. Okay.
Living libido loca.
I had to like Google this to make sure. They are kind of using the Freudian definition of libido here, which is that it isn't just sexual stuff. I mean, it's Freud, so of course it also is that.
Sure.
But it's the idea that like libido is like your desire to do anything, basically. It's basically just your desire and your virility. So it's literally like Gurren Lagann.
Oh, Gurren Lagann, what a great show.
Yeah.
I just want to say this definitely channeled the Chimera Ant arc in some parts. So like when he gets attacked by the super teen, it just straight up is like, oh, the main character, he tried to fight, but you could see the fear. And I was like, this is just literally the Chimera Ant narration style.
The Hunter x Hunter narration right there. Yeah. I do also want to say, I don't think we properly nailed this home. After the perfect boy melts, there are then 3 more perfect kids that are just created who also have to melt and also have bombs in them.
It's so stupid.
And then, like, it's like, oh, we can save them because the one's got we can, like, anti-melt that guy. I can't think of his name right now.
He hacked into a bomb.
Yeah, I forgot.
Here's the thing. The hacker is an otaku Gareki who decided to name their libido My World. And what I liked is that they said, wow, a libido with the power to control space? Which I think is like a direct reference to JoJo, as opposed to a stand with the power to control time. Like, I liked that, actually. That was pretty good.
Yeah. And then a very minor thing I liked before I forget is they actually showed the main character's mom actually looking like a 40-year-old woman, which I think this and like My Hero Academia are the only ones that their mom just doesn't look like she's 25.
Yeah.
Nice.
I fucking love Deku's mom. Best character in the whole show.
I appreciate that she realistically gained weight while she was going through a lot of stress.
She's so good. I love her.
Yeah, except My Hero is a garbage fire right now. Slow beef, though. How about you? Did you have any other miscellaneous thoughts?
Generally speaking, I never got over things being called libido.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. And like, you know, I guess even too, when like at the end when he gets reunited with Tsuniko and like his like needle gets even bigger, I was like, maybe I'm just being really immature, but I'm like, wow, yeah, that's a thing.
It's like this weird in-between thing. Like, I don't think it's like perving on the kids, but it is definitely like making a reference to sexuality and like awakening stuff, like an awakening libido. Like, it's definitely doing that.
One like weird thing, which like I don't know how maybe like I'm totally like trying to get something nerdy that's not there, but her name is Tsukino and they mention a Tsuchinoko in it, like that mythical like snake that's in every video game, and I don't really know what it is. And I'm like, her name's really close, like what is it? Tsukino, her name is. And it's like, they had a ko, which maybe means kid. And I was trying to make that work in my head, but I don't know if it really did or not. So
No.
I mean, I don't know.
Let me know in the comments. No, I'm kidding. But
leave a comment below on this podcast.
Like, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you hit the little bell so YouTube knows.
Yeah. Our YouTube videos are just a static picture of audio. Because that's all we know how to make.
That's all they need to be, yeah.
Slopey, thank you for being such a great guest.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Jordan, we haven't talked about Bulge at all. So there's Slopey. We reviewed a manga that's name was Bulge.
Yeah.
That's unrelated, but I just want to point that out.
Okay. I was like, what does that have to do with...
that's actually completely relevant because it's by the guy who made My Hero Academia.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. It's actually called Bulge of the Warring Planets. Please get it right.
Bulge is supposed to be like a reference like Battle of the Bulge, which makes sense. I think if English isn't your first language, that seems like a fine name for a series.
Sure.
Much like how libido makes sense for a superpower if English is not your first language.
Yeah. Oh, man. All right, let's go to Final Verdict. How's that sound?
Sure.
Let us kick things off with our libido-filled 6-word summaries from the community. First is I'll be U19, more like PU19. Fucking got him.
Ooh.
The author's not coming back after a burn like that.
Oh my god.
Wolfwood, who sadly is not listening, but is always in our hearts, said teens fighting Nazis with sex drive. Root in dystopian Japan, horny bonk you.
Nice.
Or actually, I think he said to say it in a Russian accent, so let me try again.
Yeah, please, David, say it correctly.
In dystopian Japan, horny bonk you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I post said the flop that started a genre.
Oh yeah, have we talked about how
Oh shit, we didn't. We talked about in the chibi.
Okay, so basically any manga that gets canceled before hitting 19 chapters, they say that it has joined the U19 club.
Really?
Yeah.
For this one? Wow.
Yeah. I think it just kind of became a meme.
Shonen Jump like promoted it a ton and then they still canceled it after, like 4 months.
Yeah.
Bet it's because the author couldn't. They were like, "Where are you going with this?" All right, we tried.
I don't know. It's like that scene from McGrubber. It says, "I don't know what I'm doing."
Nobody could wrap their head around this manga.
Nope.
It was just too galaxy brain for them.
Yeah, you have to have a very high IQ to understand U19. And yes, I have a red thread tattoo, but only the ladies shall see it. All right, let me keep going. So, Generic Man says, minors in libido, but not that.
Yes.
And Tucker said, T-Wolfwood is here. Why did I pretend that T-Wolf wasn't here? I love you, T-Wolfwood.
What the fuck, David?
Yeah, I fucked up.
Piece of shit. Who is that? Oh,
God.
I just checked to see if my bets on the Super Bowl paid off.
Oh, who won?
Sports.
Oh.
So I have no idea. And then Tucker's was the So-So's So-So. That's really good.
I believe it is the So-So's So-So.
That's true. Also, that is not 6 words, Tucker, so we're going to have to talk about this on our team meeting.
Wait, yes?
No, if you hyphenate it.
Oh boy, okay, yeah, we're going to have to argue about this.
I had to. So tell me which one you like better is Kids Next Door's Bizarre Adventure.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
And then my other one is because I can't pronounce the word, so I pronounce the word so wrong. So I said it's Death by Susu.
I do like that. You know, I think that is really good.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in ideological sloppiness in service of the joke, so I think that totally works. And I added the word ideological there, even though it doesn't make sense, just to sound really smart. So it's awesome.
You did it.
It's like how Reese's Pieces requires you to pronounce both words wrong to pronounce the word officially.
It's a good idea, and it's executed well. My 6-word summary is, my drill will seize the means
of production. No, that's Red Sprite.
Well, you know.
Yeah. Red Sprite, I think, is still the most vaguely political Shonen Jump series we've read.
Well, define vaguely.
Well, that one's the metaphor for the foundation of Israel, if you're unfamiliar with Red Sprite, Slowbeef.
That's vague, huh?
Yeah.
That's a series that's hard to wrap your head around.
Yeah. Oh, that's another good one to listen to. And then, Slowbeef, what are your 2 6-word summaries?
I came up with, they kept teasing creep, but thankfully, with a tasteful ellipses trailing off there.
Yes.
And they did. And then one which I was on the fence about, but what the hey, I'll do is the red thread of age, as in to be the perfect kind of age, the best age, the age, as in the red badge of courage from the old novel or whatever.
Oh, God.
That's right. Who needs diabetes?
He rubbed off on you.
Not diabetes.
That's right. It's like he was here all along.
Oh, yeah, we did just watch The Thing last night, starring Wilford Brimley.
There you go.
Yeah.
Diabetes is great, but I don't know if the series is so great. So, Jordan, was this a flop or not?
Yeah, no, this is a flop.
Certified?
No, I enjoyed reading it. I really appreciate a lot of what it does. The art's great. I thought that it was really cool to see somebody try and say something with their manga. Mm-hmm. And there are some instances where I think it did succeed and I enjoyed reading it. But no, this is a flop. This is absolutely a flop. There's way too many just flaws that you cannot ignore with this series. You just can't.
I completely agree. And then what should someone check out instead, Jordan?
So if you want to check out something instead, I would suggest this show called Codename Kids Next Door that ran on Cartoon Network.
It is a great series.
It was a cool idea.
It really came out like 10 years too soon to really be the kind of series where I could have seen it have like a very extensive like plot line.
Yeah.
Because it was made when you couldn't really have a show like that.
That is true. Everything had to be like serialized.
Yeah, like Gargoyle was like the only kids cartoon that really could get away with it.
I guess Gargoyles did, huh?
Yeah, Gargoyles was great.
We'll start a Gargoyles podcast.
Sure.
Yeah. Slowbeef. Yeah.
Was I included in that? Yeah. All right. Yeah. I'll start. What the heck?
Yeah. Absolutely.
You'll be our first guest.
He's the third host, David.
Oh, there
Maybe
we go.
It's just been my podcast, and you both can guest on it. Gargoyles.
I'm happy to be on your pod.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What the heck was I saying? I say flop. Look, I wanted to like it. I thought there was a lot in it that was really interesting, but like it just doesn't get there. It's ultimately kind of a mess, I think,
I think that's the big issue with this. It's a series that I really wanted to like.
Yeah.
Even through the whole thing, just like there's like, I just wish this was better, but I just can't in good conscience just say that it is.
And then Slowbeef, though, what should someone check out instead of reading this?
VR pornography.
Okay.
Or the game Forewarned is really good, by the way. But yeah.
Everybody check out Ultra Kill. That's a good game.
Yeah, Jordan just fucking plays that. No, it's not.
All I do is play Ultra
Kill. I really
Kill.
would recommend Forewarned, but yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, though, for my opinion, I think this is a flop. I was thinking about, I wrote certified flop, but I realized I think this is something we would call certified flop in our first 6 months of making it before we knew just how bad a manga could get.
There is so much worse than this. This is absolutely not the bottom of the barrel. It's in the barrel, but it's not
it's not through the barrel like Build King or Bokusan.
I know.
So, though, I feel like this was actually inspired by the HB Bomber. Is it HB Bomber guy? Is that his name?
H Bomber guy?
I was watching his I was watching his review. Yes, his H Bomber on Ruby.
He reviewed H bombs.
Yes. And so he was talking about how Ruby utilizes a lot of techniques, but it doesn't understand why, which made me think of this too, where this is someone who was very clearly inspired by Araki.
Yeah.
But he didn't understand the things Araki did to make it work. On paper, there's a lot of things about JoJo that are terrible.
Yes.
And this series has it where it's that's really cool, like a string power. Oh man, we're going to have really blatantly evil people and everything's going to be really cheesy. But he didn't understand why that works in JoJo.
I mean, to be fair, David, I don't think anybody understands why that works in JoJo.
Yeah, JoJo just doesn't make sense how JoJo is great.
I don't know why that's a good series. It shouldn't be. It should be terrible, but it's not.
That's fair.
Yeah. Oh, man. But yeah, so on that note, I would say watch part 4 if you want to watch the best part of JoJo, or part 6 if you want to see someone of the exact same powers.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Watch Guardians of the Galaxy, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And then since this wasn't a certified flop and it was a flop, we can just simply say this is just kind of in the middle, and it was near a competitor for best or worst series we've ever read.
I would say it's one of the more interesting series we've read.
It's the most series we've ever read.
I don't have a lot of context for what you both have read, even though there's a whole podcast I can listen to now.
Yeah, hey.
This feels like it could have been fixed. Like you could have made something better out of it if you'd taken a little bit of this, moved a little bit here, that kind of thing, Like there is good components here.
I think this guy really needs an editor, really needs an editor. But it's interesting because last week we covered Black Torch, which was a very well-made series that was kind of just, the issue is it's generic and there's really nothing about it that sticks in your mind. With this is a manga series that is not super well made, but I'm going to remember this one a lot more than I'm going to remember Black Torch.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
There wasn't low-hanging fruit of what to fix.
It's stuff you've seen a billion times before, just done well.
Yes. But you know what else has been done really well?
This podcast.
And some things that we're going to give shout-outs to. So let's migrate to the shout-outs. Slowbeef, I want to start things off by saying thank you so much for giving us your time and being on the show. It was a lot of fun recording with you. And do you mind telling the audience a bit about where they can find the awesome things that you work on?
Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. I had a lot of fun.
Oh,
awesome.
I still make content with Twitch on twitch.tv/slowbeef. I used to do a lot with a guy named Diabetes, and we still do stuff together, and I've uploaded it at my YouTube channel, which is also youtube.com/slowbeef. It's actually the top playlist called Beef and Beatus Do Things. So if you like some of our old stuff and you're like, I wish they still did stuff, we do. It's there. Go check it out, and please subscribe to him and follow him and look at it and all that fun stuff. And he is _Beatus. I'll give you a plug, you jerk, on Twitch, twitch.tv. Other than that, I hopefully have a game coming out at the end of this year.
Whoa,
that's sick.
Yeah, holy shit. What kind of game?
It's a survival horror. We're trying to marry the sight jacking mechanics of Forbidden Siren.
Oh, that was a great game.
We're trying to marry that with Junji Ito's hanging balloons. So it's about giant heads that are trying to kill you, and you can look through their eyes and stuff.
Holy shit.
That's really cool.
I thought it was one of those things I'm like, that'll be easy to make for a game. And now, over a year and a half in with 2 other people, or I'm not even saying 5 other people, I'm like, wow, this is hard to make video games.
What are you doing on the game?
Well, I'm a computer programmer by trade, so I am doing Unity programming, but I'm actually doing a lot of 3D modeling and animation, which is totally new to me.
Whoa.
This is not going to be a AAA thing per se, but we're going for PS2, PS3 kind of aesthetic, and it's working out better than I thought, and it kind of creeps me out. So I'm like, I think we actually might have something here.
Is that a VR game?
No, we're considering it. We have one person who's interested in it. It's like a Stone Soup kind of project too, where everybody kind of joins, bring their own thing.
Okay.
But it's called Atama right now. So we're shooting.
Is it first person?
Yeah, it's first person.
I was imagining it's third person and you jack in and you have to put on a VR headset. And that's one of those ideas that sounds really cool. And then if you played it for 10 minutes, you'd be like, this is really annoying.
I really love Siren, and it was born out of I wonder if I could make a VR version of Siren. And there's a lot of logistical issues with that, which I won't get into in the plug section. But the point is that it gave birth to this idea. So,
That's awesome.
Yeah, I definitely want to hear more about it while we're uploading the audio and stuff.
Sure.
And then is there anything else? Those sound like some really awesome projects.
I'm also known for the Police Knots ROM hack, which was I did the programming on, and this guy from junkerhq.net, Mark, did the translation on. I'm kind of working on Sega Gaga also at the same time, because I really like White Whale kind of vaporware-ish projects. So
Sega Gaga?
It's this weird game Sega made when the Dreamcast was on its last legs. It's
I remember, don't you play as the CEO of a game company or something crazy like that?
You talk to the CEO of Sega, and you talk to old Sega characters. It's weird. It's almost
I can't believe I've never heard of this.
It's so weird. And I found out why it never got translated, and it's such a big technical challenge that I'm kind of want to get into it. So, hopefully that goes somewhere. But
That's awesome, though.
Yeah, I definitely want to hear that's good.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, probably none of these will ever get finished, and I'll just be a big liar. But at least now I'll be stuck to them. No, Atama's coming long enough. I feel like I can plug it, and I'm still, so
sweet.
Yeah.
If you have a link to a trailer or anything, we'll definitely put in the show notes.
No, sure, yeah.
Is that on early access?
It's nowhere yet. We're still in like development mode and stuff. We have a closed alpha, to get some feedback on that we listen to some people. We'll see how it goes, but we're looking to try to release by October this year, 2022. So.
Oh, frick yeah.
Slowbeef is on record as saying that it will look exactly like Death Stranding.
It will be better than Death Stranding, okay?
Better than Death Stranding. Better than Doom Eternal and every other game. Yes.
What's that game you're obsessed with, Jordan?
Doom Eternal.
No, the one that you literally talked about at the start of this episode.
Loop Hero.
No, the FPS game. The one that's like DMC but as an FPS.
Oh, Quake.
Deathloop? No,
Ultra Kill.
Ultra Kill, yeah.
It's Ultra Kill.
All right, so on that note, I also want to thank Jordan for creating the opening and ending theme, being a great co-host, and helping with editing. On the note of how Jordan has made the opening and ending theme, he also has a really awesome music project he's working on right now.
Yeah, I've decided that I've been making a lot of music digitally, so fuck it. I would like to get into video game music, so I'll post my SoundCloud, I guess, below, like every single person on Twitter does every time they have a good, have like a viral post. So yeah, I don't know. If you like it and think that'd be cool to be in your video game or indie game project, reach out.
Yeah. Jordan, maybe we should have like Patreon. One of our tiers, you'll make them a theme song.
I'm not going to commit to anything right now.
All right, Jordan's committing to it.
Oh no, I can't handle commitment.
Sounds like you've got someone to do your entire OST for your video game.
And for free? Amazing.
He's actually going to pay you. That's how much he loves working with you.
Thank God, I'm so excited to work for Exposure. This is so great.
Not me. I just won $8 from the Super Bowl.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
What do you spend it on?
8 scratch-offs. Got to keep that train going.
Yeah. You clearly got big luck now. Let's keep it going.
Anyway, though, to get back on track, because I think we're definitely over time, but it's all right. We're having a lot of fun. I want to give props to Merliel for the awesome cover art. You can find her online at Lyle Mer, and Nigel for being our generous art benefactor. Thanks to Tucker for assistance with pronunciation, translation, and other miscellaneous research. Thanks to Luke for being our community producer. And thanks to T-Root, OzyRat, and T-Wolfwood for being our awesome transcription volunteers.
Thank you so much, you guys. Yeah.
We're still working hard on the new site, but it and the transcripts will be available soon.
Yes.
And then, Jordan, is there anything else you want to say?
I would like to thank you, David.
Oh,
thank you for editing this. Thank you so much, David.
Oh, no problem, babe.
Aww.
And then you can find us on Twitter at Shonen Flopcast and our website, shonenflop.com. We're also on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, or wherever else you get your podcast. And just a heads up, Spotify now has reviews. If you're enjoying the show, we'd appreciate if you took 30 seconds to give us 5 stars. If you've done that already, you are the best.
You thought we were joking about like, rate, and review, weren't you?
Yeah, it actually matters.
No.
I actually hit up my friend that works at Spotify and he's going to see what he can do to help us out.
It's got connections. Holy shit.
Yeah. And then be sure to join the Shonen Flop Discord. Come hang out with us and talk about anime, games, or whatever else is on your mind. And we also have a book club and do regular movie nights. You can find a link to it in the show notes. For those curious, the next movie night is going to be Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and I'm really excited about that.
I like that movie.
So that's the winner. Gotcha.
Yes.
Great movie, yeah.
And then if you've been enjoying the podcast and want to help us keep going, consider subscribing to our Patreon. We have a ton of awesome perks ranging from exclusive mini episodes on things like Mago-chan, PPPPP, and Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer. You can even listen into us on recording. We've actually had 3 patrons listening right now. And you can even help us pick what series we're going to cover next. And I want to give a thank you to our Chainsaw Man and King of the Forest patrons.
Woo!
So first, I want to give a thank you to Pterodactyl Ghost, Mwahaha, I, David Nealby for Jordan Senpai's vast skills, are our Chainsaw Man patrons.
Thank you.
Then moving to our King of the Forest, we have Albie, Gabe Landau. It's day 34, and the horses have accepted me as one of their own. Bellas began snuffing out my flanks. We shall grow ever closer. I don't know how I got that in one take. Kylie Denton, Mark, Matthew Solovich, Marty, Overrated Apples, Rachel. Rachel actually upgraded her patron for her as a Valentine's Day gift.
Yeah, Slowbeef Rachel is David's girlfriend. She was a $3 patron.
She went from $3 to $8 patron as a Valentine's Day gift.
That's awesome.
I know, isn't that love?
Yeah.
Scarlet Myrmidon T, the BBB King, BBB the.
You did it.
I did it. I got in. Oh man, this is really like, damn, I really finessed that list.
I'm proud of you.
And then if you're not ready for a regular commitment, consider buying some merch. We have a lot of awesome shirts, including the much requested Gomez, Moon, and Mashal Punching Harry Potter shirts, along with the cover art from this episode, and a portion of the proceeds go back to the original artist to boot. And I have one shout out. I made a friend this week, Jordan. It was a big week for me.
What?
I was like telling Rachel, I was like, oh, well, you're busy studying for finance. Let me go make some friends in New York. And the top post was like, I live in the same area. He was like, in the same area as me. And he's like, I love anime, board games, and like comics. And I was like, I should hang out. So we got coffee and hung out, and that was really cool. So I want to give a shout out to Sean and his project, The Daily Drunk Mag, daily pop culture, writing from writers all over the world. You can find them on Twitter at Daily Drunk Mag and their site, dailydrunkmag.com.
Is he drunk while he's doing it?
Oh, yeah, he's fucking blasted.
Cool. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, it's the My Drunk Kitchen of millennial blogs.
God, I remember that show.
Thank you so much for joining us. Tune in next week as we give our first thoughts on a certain series involving balls and dragons. This has been David.
This has been Jordan.
This has been Slowbeef.
And you've been listening to Shonen Flop.
Keep on flopping, floppers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.